everybody. Welcome back to the Purl Up Dye Podcast. My name is Jaden, coming to you from Saskatchewan, Canada. If you're new to my podcast, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. It's exciting to have you here. This is a knitting podcast and a kind of a shop update kind of thing. I own a small indie hand-dyed yarn business. Sorry, excuse. I dropped some yarn on the floor. It's a bad thing. Yarn abuse, is that a thing? It should be. So anyways, you can find me around Instagram on littleprairiepurl on Instagram, and then on Ravelry I am creationsonawhim, and my Etsy shop, my personal Etsy shop with my project bags and sassy knitting tags, which is currently very, very empty. You can find that at littleprairiepurl.etsy.com, but I mean, there's like nothing in there right now. Whoops, kind of been slacking. And then, like I said, I co-own a hand-dyed yarn business with my sister Tara, and you can find us at midknitcravings.etsy.com, and also on Instagram as Midknit Cravings. So I'll put the information down at the bottom of the screen for you guys. So that's where you can find us around the internet. So I believe that this is episode 13. I didn't check, so I have no actual idea. I'm hoping it's right, but it's 13, 14, 10, 11. I don't even know. I should have checked that before, but I didn't. So anyways, it's around there somewhere. It's been about a month, I think. I filmed on my girls' last day of school, and now it is August 6th. It's a Sunday. My husband's at home with the girls, and I blitzed over to Tara's house, so that's why background's different. And Tara's on vacation still, so I kind of invaded her house. Sorry, Tara. It was mostly clean. I just rearranged a few things. It was clean, but I rearranged things on her shelf, so I hope she wasn't completely married to how she had her bottom shelf. Oops. I took some liberties. She's going to fire me. Anyway, so yeah, it's been a busy month. Summer always is. I had my girls in swimming lessons. They had that in June. We kind of didn't do a whole lot for the first 2 weeks of July because the last 2 weeks were completely crazy. We went on vacation, went out to BC. First we went to Edmonton, did a quick stop there. Unfortunately, I didn't get to stop and see anyone or meet anyone. I didn't even make it to the yarn shop there, if you can believe it. It's like River City Knits is right there. I've ordered from them online, and do you think I could make it? No, I just could not. I tried so hard, but it wasn't happening today or this week. So missed that one. And then, yeah, we headed out to BC. For any of you who aren't in Canada, it's British Columbia. That's just their yeah, everybody calls it BC. Beautiful in that area, but it was hot. I'm not used to 38-degree weather, which is like 104 Fahrenheit or something. It's ridiculously hot. And smoke. A lot of BC has wildfires right now, just big, huge, massive wildfires that they're having trouble getting under control. So on the air quality control index, it goes 1 to 10. Kamloops was at 49 one day. How that's even possible, I don't know. But it was hard to breathe. It was really, it was hot and it was smoky. And I mean, I feel for everyone who's out there. I lived in Kamloops in 2003 when they had their big fire season. That was like kind of their biggest one on record for fires and damage and just the general insanity of that. And I honestly think that this year is worse. So I was visiting there and I was like, oh, it's dry, it's hot, and crazy. So I was glad we were there for 2 weeks, or a week and just over a week, I guess. And we were gone from home for 2 weeks. That's why. But yeah, it was nice. I was glad to get home, as I always am after vacation. It's exhausting being away from home, living out of a suitcase, and just generally being out of your routine and stuff like that. But it was a nice break. But I am definitely ready to get back into the dye pots and into my regular routine and get the girls prepped for school. That will be happening. They've got just under a month before school starts again. So I need to get their school supplies done and go through all their clothes and figure out what they've outgrown and what they need for the new school year. And I don't know. I find back to school time exciting and stressful. And I'm not one of those moms. Maybe I'm going to admit that I'm a bad parent right now. I look forward very much to school. Very, very much. Not because I don't love my children, obviously, but holy golly. If you're not entertaining them like 100% of the time, they are bored and they're fighting and they're ready for school. So we'll try to cram some more fun things into this summer, and then it's off to school again. And this year, my littlest one is in grade 1, so full time. Looking forward to it immensely. Mostly because then I can really focus on dyeing, because before she was every second day, and that really threw a kink into what days that I could be down in the dye studio dyeing up yarn and focusing on the business. So now I'll be able to focus a little bit more. I'm not going to go gung-ho and be like super full-time over full-time, but at least now I'll have the freedom that if I want to go dye that day, I can, because I don't have to worry about finding babysitting or accommodations or, just something for my little one to do. So she's not that little anymore. She's 6, going into grade 1. So yeah, I don't know. I was a little emotional when my oldest started grade 1. So I expect there to be like a little bit of emotional, but mostly I might cry, but it might be for joy. Is that a bad thing? I don't know. I'm sure some other parents can relate, I hope. Anyways, so that's what's been going on with me. So I have lots of knitting. I don't have any FOs. One's in the wash, and one I gave to my mother-in-law, and I forgot to even take a picture of it. It's like, I don't understand how I did that. It's like I watch other podcasts, and people are like, oh, I gifted it before I remember to take a photo. I'm like, I've never done that. I've always taken photos. And then this time I just completely forgot. I just handed it to my mother-in-law one day, and she was like, oh, thanks, and then didn't even think about it again. So, whoops. I'll have to see if she can send me a photo, but it wouldn't be very good anyways, because it would just be like, you know how they are. They're not knitters. They're not really worried about taking excellent quality photos. So that one's a loss. It was red. It was a cowl. I don't remember what the name of the pattern was even, so I'll put a link in below. It was a nice knit. I did enjoy it. Probably would do it again if I ever had the opportunity to, or if I felt like it. There's so many patterns. It's like why, I don't repeat patterns very often because it's just, unless I really love it, but like the 3-color cashmere shawl that I knit 4 times. That one I liked. I would knit it again. Actually, I was like, oh, these will make, I'm holding yarns. I'm like, what 3-color shawl would I like to make with this? But anyways, I digress. I have enough shawls planned. So yeah, 2 cowls done. One's in the wash, like I said, it's at home. I'll block it and then I'll show it another time. And yeah, other than that, I've just started like all the things. So I guess I will start. And I have a little bit of stash enhancement. And then we'll have the Midknit Cravings segment, and I will talk about a visit to a yarn shop that we went to in Kamloops. Tara and I went together with Kim of Not So Cute Designs. I'll put the links in below so you know who I'm talking about. And yeah, I guess I'll just jump right in. So what to start with? I guess whips, since my FOs are nowhere to be seen. So what am I working on? I'm working on so many different things. It's kind of actually to the point of ridiculousness, but I will try to show you everything. Oh, got so much. Oh, there it is. I was like, where is my whip? It's stuck, tucked right down beside me, and I was like sitting on it. But anyways, I've got 4. So I will start with this one because it's on the top. So while I was in Kamloops, like I said, we didn't run into her like randomly. We planned and made arrangements. But we met up with Kim Miller of Not So Cute. My sister and her have Not So Cute Design Shop. They are crochet designers. And then Tara and I now have the yarn shop. So Tara's kind of like in high demand. Kim needs her and I need her, and yeah. Anyways, so I've known Kim for a long time, so we made sure we met up with her. And she had some yarn. If you ever look at their stuff, they're very into the neutrals. They both design with the neutrals, and they both like design and fill their home with those kind of things and like little pops of colors here and there. But anyways, Kim ended up with a skein of yarn that she absolutely loved, and then she struggled with it because it was not neutral. It looks like this. And if you're wondering what that is, it is a Rose City roller. It's a sock. So cuff down, I've got the heel in and the part of the foot. So anyways, this yarn, I have no idea what it's actually called. It was a one-of-a-kind skein from Rain City Knits. She was a dyer out of Vancouver, Canada. There we go. So you can see it's got pink and purple, and it's got like a little bit of tangerine yellow or orange, and it's got little pops of yellow, which you can't see in the skein, but you can see it in the sock. Got a little bit of yellow in there. Anyways, yeah, Rain City Knits. And I don't remember what her name was, but she was out of Vancouver, and she's kind of on hiatus right now. If you look at her Instagram, she just says, you know, on hiatus. So I don't know how long she'll be gone for, or if she's ever going to dye again. I have no idea. But anyways, Kim ended up with this beautiful skein of yarn, and she didn't know what to do with it, and it just didn't fit with her. You know, some yarns just never want to be anything. So she says, do you want it? And I'm like, hello. I don't generally design with neutrals or wear neutrals. This is about the most neutral thing I own. Yeah, this, I was like, yes. So I cast on immediately because I just wanted something mindless to do while I was on vacation. So yeah, so this is number one, sock number one of Rose City Rollers. I didn't do the heel flap and gusset that the pattern calls for because I'm trying them out on 9-inch circulars for the very first time. And I wasn't sure if I could go back and forth, and I'm not really familiar. I've only done one sock ever with a heel flap and gusset, and like I said, I wanted something mindless while I was on vacation, so Fish Lips Kiss Heel is what went in, so that's why my sock looks so weird. There's the Fish Lips Kiss Heel. And if you're unfamiliar with what that Fish Lips Kiss Heel is, it's a method of doing a short row heel. And it's really awesome for beginners or, well, not even for beginners, just anyone. But it's the very first one I ever tried and the only one I've ever really done except for one heel flap and gusset. And I did like doing the heel flaps. I'm going to try them again for myself. And yeah, but anyways, like I said, I'm trying out 9-inch circulars. These ones are, let me see, I think I might have the package here. Knitter's Pride Dreams, 9 inches, and these ones are 2.25, so I've got the package here. Knitter's Pride Dreams, 9 inches. So I'm of mixed opinion on the 9 inches. I usually am a magic looper, but yeah, I also bought DPNs not that long ago because I'd like to try socks on DPNs, magic loop, and the 9-inch circulars, and then decide after that which is my preferred method. I've always done magic loop, always, always, always. I've never tried anything else. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to try it because how can I recommend something? I've had people ask me once in a while which I prefer, and I'm like, well, I've only ever done magic loop, so I have no idea. So I thought it was time. So I bought these little things. I don't know. I'm not sure I'm sold on them. I don't know about the rest of you, so if any of you have information, chime in. But I found that I can't get 64 stitches around very easily. Like, I've got lots of extra room. They don't slide around my needles very well, and I find I'm constantly pulling my knitting as I'll do like 10 stitches and then I have to readjust them all around. I'm finding it's actually slower than doing the magic loop. Maybe it's because they're wood and I'm used to metal, or maybe, I don't know, but I don't think I could do a sock at 60, like this is 64 now, but I had to do a 72 cast on just so I could reach the ends of the needles together, and then once I got a bit of stitches on, so I think I've seen other people who are doing the 64, I think it's Amber from Yarn Hoarder. I think she starts on a magic loop and then transfers to that, like once she's got a couple inches. I could be completely wrong. I don't even know. But anyways, I don't know. I'm not completely sold. I'd like to try 9-inch circulars with metal instead of wood because I'm normally a metal needle knitter. I just prefer the slickness of that in comparison to the wood, but I don't know. So yeah, you're like, I'm pretty slow, but I did like these ones. I was looking at some of the other 6 or 9-inch circulars that was at the shop, and the little the little needles were just a little bit shorter than this one. This one's a good couple inches, and then it's got the little metal piece. So there's quite a bit of room for me to hold on to, so I don't really get like the hand cramping that I was worried that I would get, but I don't know. I'm going to finish this sock, and then we'll see what happens. But yeah, like I'm just not very fast. It's like one little stitch at a time, and it's like, man, when I'm on regular ones, I just fly. So I don't know. They just don't glide nice. I'm not 100% sold on these, and it's just too bad because they're like $14 a pair. It's like, oh my goodness, that's expensive. That's the Canadian dollar for you. So anyways, that's what whip number 1 is, just kind of a random work on sock in the Rain City Knits, one of a kind colorway that has no name. But yeah, those are fun. I'm making them for me, so I'll get out my sock measure sock ruler and try to see what that is, how long I have to knit before I start the toe. So that was that. And then the next thing, I won't show that one yet. I'll show this one. Take it out without losing stitches. I'm sitting on it. There we go. Okay. So this is actually going to be a shop sample. I started it, I think I mentioned it on the last podcast, where I had like literally the cast on and 2 rows done. But I took this with me yesterday. Started it again yesterday. So I mean, I had like 8 rows of the ribbing. So I virtually had nothing done. And now you can't really tell what it is. Okay. Here, let's hold it out like this. Like this. Okay. It's a flax light. So these are you can see here, got your garter stitch panels right here, and then the increases, and then this is the front. Yeah, so anyways, you can't really tell. I'm just 1 row away from separating the sleeves and then doing the body and the round. So if you're not familiar with Flax Light, it's a fingering weight sweater made by, or designed by Tin Can Knits. It's a free sweater pattern on Ravelry, and I really recommend it. It's a great one for beginners. Yeah, but this is just going to be a shop sample. The colorway that I'm using, this is the Midknit Cravings yarn, like Terranized yarn, and it's a blue and green blend. I am not having success in like showing this thing off. Holy smokes. Crazy. But anyways, put this here. Oh, sorry. Oops. Put some weight on there. There we go. Okay. It is blue and green. So it kind of starts out with like a sapphire-y blue, and then it's got shots of navy, and then darker sapphire, and then green. And I can't really tell in this, the lighting isn't quite right, but it's like bright green. It's muted out a little bit in here, but anyways, this is it in the ball. It looks more olive, but it's not olive. It's like a bright emeraldy green in there. I'll show a picture of it. I'll just link a picture to it. Anyways, this is called Grass Stains, and it just reminded us of like blue jeans and sky, and then rolling down the hill and getting your knees all covered in grass stains. So yeah, so this is the I thought it was a 0 to 6 month size, but it's actually the 6 to 12 month size. And yeah, like I said, I'm just about ready to I'm like 1 or 2 rows away from taking the sleeves and putting them on holders, and then knitting the little body in the round, and then I'll pick up the sleeves after that. But I'm really liking how this works up. So we like to have a shop sample or either a shop sample or just a swatch of the yarns, because when we dye new ones, we want to see how it works up, and so do our customers. So this will be one that we'll have at our show. We've got a show coming up in October in Saskatoon, and we're excited and a little bit freaking out. We've never done a show before, so we have no idea what we're doing. We barely can, function on a day-to-day basis, and let's throw a show in that. Oh, but, we'll be fine. I'm sure of it. People seem to be generally pretty nice when it comes to craft shows, right? So anyways, we'll explain more about the show in another episode, but yes, very excited about that. So that's whip number 2. More fingering weight. I should have had this one organized before because it's going to be a bit of a nightmare. Taking it out because I don't want to lose stitches. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this one's a bit of a mess. Project number 3. Let's see how we do this here. Okay, so a while ago, I was looking for a new pattern to knit, and I was watching a podcast, Christy Glass. I just started watching her not that long ago when she was interviewing Legacy Knits, I think, Chelsea and Sue. And so I really enjoyed it. So I've started watching like some of her back ones and like the one with Stephen West. And then anyways, one that caught my eye was Jennifer Weissman. And she designs big shawls that are reversible. If at all possible, she tries to make them reversible. And I love that because there's nothing more annoying than putting a shawl on and having the wrong side and you're trying to like tuck it or roll it so that, like it looks nice from the front. So anyways, Christy was wearing one in the podcast. And I was like, that's beautiful. And yeah, it was called The Changing Light. I'll put a link in and I'll insert a picture of the shawl. And yeah, it's just gorgeous. It's it works really well with a gradient yarn. And I dyed myself up some like a fun gradient yarn that's been kicking around in my brain for a little while. And yeah, so I've finished section A. You can't really tell, but it starts with a center diamond. I'll try not to lose stitches. Okay, so anyways, there's a center diamond right here. Okay, there we go. And then you put half, once you get your diamond to a certain amount of stitches, you put half of them on hold, and then you knit one side all the way to the one end, and then you bind that side off, and then you're half done. And then you pick up the stitches from the second half of the diamond, and then you knit down again. So I am like a fifth done maybe, but it's going to be quite big. And then because I can't read instructions very well, I ended up doing way more increases than I was supposed to. Instructions said to, like, when you reach 54 stitches per quadrant, you're supposed to like start section B. I got 72 stitches per quadrant, so it's going to be quite a bit bigger, I think, which is okay because her measurements were about 12 inches. So I would have actually preferred a wider shawl. So I want something that can like drape down and not just be like a scarf. So I'm just gonna go with it. And then I'm going to block the heck out of it and try to make it as big as possible. So right now, I'm on this side. So here I'm knitting. Here's my working needle. And then this side I've got on my cord. I just switch my needles and then put stitch like ends on, so to keep my stitches in place. And the color I'm using is also my hand dyed. This is kind of, I'll show it in the skeins in my Midknit Cravings section, but it's Juice Box. It's one of our more popular colorways, but it's a gradient set that I created. Juice Box is normally like white with a few speckles. So I did white with a few speckles, and then I did like a white with more speckles, and then the last one was almost no white. I just sprayed it with the colors all over the place. So, I mean, it still has some white in it, like you can see, but it's mostly colored. So when all three of them are together, you can see the graduation. So they're actually sitting right behind me. There, and there. So I'll show them in a little bit, all three of them side by side. But so this was the darkest color. And then, so this was the darkest color here from the A. And then this is B. So you can see that this one's got a little bit more. And then my third one I left at home but it's like our basic. It's basically white with just a few speckles. So it will be a complete, you won't even really see where the colors blend in together, because right now it's, you knit one row of color A and then one row of color B and one row of color A and one row of color B. So they're going to be so gradual. I don't think I'll ever see where B and, you know, separated from A, which is good, because I kind of wanted it like a really gradual fade where it's really intense, or, you know, more intense on the inside, on the middle, and then it goes down to the light at the ends like what hers is, but not quite so abrupt to the color change, if that makes any sense. So like a fade, but a totally different pattern. And yeah, so I'm really excited. It's working up really fast because it's just garter stitch and then like a simple lace pattern. I'm not going to explain much more than that because I don't want to give away, because it is a paid pattern. But yeah, check her out. She's got some beautiful shawls, like amazingly gorgeous shawls. She just released one a couple days ago called Dragonfly's Path. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. And I will be putting that on my list to knit eventually. But right now it's all shawls all the time. And I've got, I mean, I'm trying to do these other ones for the shop too. So I am just trying to knit my fingers off, and I'm trying to clear up some needles. Does anybody else get like that, where you get so many projects on the go that you just can't? I had, I think, 10, and I'm normally a one project at a time person. Anything more than that kind of stresses me out, and yeah, I had 10, and it was kind of getting ridiculous. So I've started clearing as many away off the needles as possible, either finishing them, or the ones that I don't care to finish, I'm just going to rip off the needles and reuse the yarn, or donate the yarn, or something. I don't really know. But I don't know. I don't like having that many. It stresses me out. And I also find that I don't get anything finished. I'm a product knitter. Well, I don't know. I'm a cross between the two. I really like the process, but I like to have the finished thing done too. I'd like to enjoy my knits and wear them or gift them or whatever I'm going to do with them. I don't just like having 1,001 unfinished projects that just need, like, oh, the sleeve needs to be, you know, sewn on, or the hat just needs to be bound off or something. I hate that. So yeah, we'll see. I've got, yeah, but the little sweater will be done in no time. The sock won't take very long, and that'll just be my traveling project, so that'll be fine. And yeah, and then, okay, so I'm going to keep holding this ball of yarn, so I may as well talk about the whip that's attached to it. So with the shop, right now we only carry like fingering weight, and that was kind of on purpose because we didn't know what, and we started in January when a lot of people were starting to think about spring knits and stuff like that. So fingering weight made sense to us. But now we're in August and people are starting to think about more like their mittens and hats and scarves and quick gift knits and stuff like that. So we're trying to get a couple more weights into the shop. One is going to be a sport and like sport/DK. It kind of falls into both categories, the weight that it is. So it's really nice. And then this one that I'm carrying is a worsted weight. So what Tara and I are doing, we're trying out two different mills. One is our regular mill that we always use for our sparkle yarn and our 80/20, and we really like the yarn from there. So, but we found out from another dyer about another mill that is popular with some of the Canadian dyers. So we're trying out his yarn as well. So anyways, Tara's testing out yarn A and I'm testing out yarn B in worsted weight. Hers is a 3-ply, mine is a 4-ply, and we dyed them with Smoke and Mirrors is the name of this color. Both of them are dyed the same because we were testing out how well they took the dye in the colorways. So it's just a beautiful smoky gray, a really good neutral. It doesn't really read brown, it doesn't read blue, it's just a really good like gray. Yeah, so I've got the 4-ply. As you can see, I've got the little tag here so we could remember which supplier was with. Hers has got pink and mine's got orange. So yeah, but it's beautiful. Oh my goodness. I'm loving knitting with this yarn. So you can kind of see, you see the plies? There you go. It's got a really nice twist and it's really plump. It was plump before we dyed it, and then once we dyed it and washed it, it plumped up even more. And the twist kind of changed, because when we first got it, when it was undyed, we were like, not sure we were liking that twist that much. But I do now. It's nice. It changed after we dyed it. So I'm just making a simple hat. I don't remember the name of it. Oh, shoot. I do kind of, sort of, but I'm not going to say because I can't remember for sure. It starts with a B. That doesn't help you much, I think it starts with a B. Anyways, I'm not really prepared for podcasting today. I just had the opportunity. I'm like, go, go, go. Threw everything into box, and I ran over to Tara's. So, anyways, yeah. It starts off with a twisted rib. It's a free pattern. I'll link it below for everybody. But it starts off with like a 3-inch twisted rib 1x1 hem. And when I first did it, I was doing a 22-inch size, and it said to cast on 110 stitches. And I was like, that seems like a lot. Or 100 stitches, I think. And I was like, seems like a lot on the 4.5 needles for me. And yeah, sure enough, I did about, an inch of twisted rib, which is annoying, but I did it. And I stretched it. That sucker could stretch like, these are 60-inch cables. And it was basically from the end of the metal all the way to here. I'm like, okay, nobody in the whole world has a head that big. I could have wore it as a cowl or as a, hem of a sweater. So I was like, okay, I did that wrong. So, pulled that all out, and now I'm knitting it with 80 stitches. And now it fits pretty good. I don't know if I should bother putting it on. I mean, all it is right now is a band. But it starts with this really, it's like going to be like 3 inches. Come on. 3 inches of the band, and then it's just a really simple pattern for like the crown. So yeah, ooh, kind of got an 80s vibe going on with the headband. My hair sticking up everywhere. So anyways, that's holy, that was not graceful at all. My bad. Don't try on hats. You know what? Megan from Pip and Kin can put on hats, and she looks amazing. She just puts it on, and it looks so good. And I do it, and it's like, just about to strangle myself with the. Of course, she doesn't do it with all the strings. She's smart. She finishes the hat, shows it off, puts it on her head. I can learn a few things from some of these other podcasters. Don't do that. Anyways, that was really awkward. So I'll probably just leave that in because, that's just the way I roll. So this shouldn't take me too long. It's just a simple hat. It's on worsted weight. But yeah, so this is one of the bases that we are contemplating. If you have an opinion on worsted weights, if you like a 3-ply or 4-ply, then definitely let us know in the comments below, because we are looking for more yarn bases in our shop. So feel free, if you're, and if you're looking for anything, feel free to tell us what you're looking for. I know we're really interested in introducing a line, a fingering weight that doesn't have nylon in it. I know a lot of people don't care for nylon unless they're knitting with socks, but for shawls and things, they might want just regular, like a superwash, but not with nylon. So if that's something that interests you, definitely let us know, because we're always interested in expanding our yarn lines and catering to what our customers want. So yes, opinions, please. Feel free to link them below. And yeah, so that's whips. I've got those 4 on right now that I'm trying to, and I have a sweater at home. I forgot to bring it, but I'm really trying to get my, what's it called? Moyen Age sweater. I'm knitting it out of the seashell colorway, and I'm trying to get it done because we're going to be going to Knit City in Vancouver. I'm really super, super excited. Can't really tell. But oh my goodness, it's going to be so much fun. I'm going with my sister, and we're going meeting up with Kim, and then we're going to go together, the 3 of us, and oh my goodness, it's going to be so much fun. I'm really excited to meet some of the other podcasters and some of the other dyers. Black Cat Custom Yarns, I've been chatting with her. I'm hoping that we can maybe get a sneak peek at her shop. She's going to be opening up soon. She's got a dye studio and a shop in the front. So I'm really hoping that that if it works out, that we can get in there and have a snoop. So that's exciting. And we're also going to be taking a class with Felicia Lowe. So I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. If you don't know who Felicia Lowe is by name, you probably know who she is in the yarn dyeing industry. She is Sweet Georgia, and she's got the most gorgeous yarns. And so that was one of the classes offered by Knit City. So Tara and I, the day the registration opened up, I just sat back and I told Tara to go for it because I get really stressed out. And so she had put all the information in the cart, and then as soon as it opened, she was there with her credit card, and we happened to snag the 3 spots that we needed, one for me, Tara, and Kim. And oh my goodness, I just about jumped up and down for joy. We've got our plane tickets booked, so now we're just going to be looking for accommodations and getting a hotel or something. And yeah, so excited. We're like, it's only a month and a bit away, so holy smokes. And yeah, and then following right on the tail of that, like we get home on Tuesday, and on Friday we've got our first show. So, you know, nothing like stretching ourselves completely thin and being exhausted from the thing and jumping into the next, but that just seems to be how we go. But anyways, so that's that for whips and kind of my ramble. I will be talking more about Knit City as it gets closer, and then also when we go, I will definitely be taking tons of photos and hopefully a few videos, and then I'll do a Knit City podcast, and that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, so okay, so when we were on vacation, I wanted to tell you guys about a shop that we went to, and it's a little bit an extra special shop for us, only because it's in Kamloops, BC, and that's where Tara lived for about 20 years. Sorry, my hair. You know, it was good before I put the hat on. Oh well. Okay, so anyways, sorry. Tara lived in Kamloops for about 20 years or so. And then when I was 18, I didn't want to live in a small town that I'm now currently living in again. But I was ready for a change after graduating high school. So I moved in with Tara and her husband temporarily until I found my own apartment. And so I lived in Kamloops, and that's where I met my husband and where his family is still from. So that's where we went. And Tara happened to be going on vacation at the same time. So we closed the shop, and we were both heading out to BC. She was heading out farther than I was, but we both happened to land in Kamloops at the same time. So we're like, okay, we have to go to Knit 2 Yarns in Kamloops. And the reason that it's extra special is because she is the very first shop that carried our yarn. Put in her wholesale or her order and stock it and put it on her wall, and it was a pretty big deal. I mean, it still is a pretty big deal. It was very exciting. So we were so thrilled that we were both going to be in Kamloops, and we could actually meet Carla and see our yarn in the shop. And we've heard so many good things, and we've seen pictures, and we're like, oh my goodness, her shop is so cute. So we arranged with her to come on Wednesday morning, and we brought a shipment of yarn. And that store, oh my goodness, it's beautiful. If you were ever going through Kamloops, or if you're going to be close to the area, definitely take a stop and go in and visit Carla. She is the nicest person. She's such a sweetheart. Her husband is very nice too. We were lucky enough to meet them both. And some of her customers, they didn't know who we were, so hearing them when because we unloaded the order onto her work table, and then she had other customers, and Tara and I were like mingling about because we had to check out all the yarn, of course. And they were like, oh my goodness, you know, it's so nice to hear actual feedback on our yarns in person, and they didn't know that we were the dyers. And then Carla would be like, oh, you like that yarn? And they're like, oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. And they're like, oh, they dyed it over there. And then they would come and introduce themselves. So we met a few customers, and yeah, it was so much fun. I think we spent like 2.5 hours in her shop. Yeah, but it was fun. We had a really good visit with Carla, and we, gave her our next installment of yarn for the wall, some new colors, and we did some shopping. So that was fun. So I bought a couple of things. I bought those knitting needles, the little 9-inch rounds, circulars, I mean. I bought those there. And then what else did I get? I got these. I saw these in a basket. She's got the most sweetest setup ever. She's got this boat. I'm going to put it in. Her son built for her. And it's like a little sailboat shelf. And it says sailboat, like S-A-L-E. It's where she puts all her sail yarns in. It's so fun. And like little tricycles in the corner. And huge knitting needles with knitting hanging off of them. And crates and like old-fashioned tables and a hutch. And it's just beautiful. Like if I had a quarter of her design sense, I'm sure I would just be beside myself. But yes, beautiful little shop. And everywhere you look, there was something new to see. So that's why we took 2.5 hours to find everything, because we're like, what do we want to buy? And of course, we're traveling, so you don't have a lot of room. But I managed to snag a couple of souvenir yarns. So this one caught my eye. It's something I've never seen before. It's this really shiny, beautiful yarn. And it's called Katja Air Luxe. And it is, I think it's 70 viscose and 30% virgin wool. And it's merino wool, because it says extra fine merino right down there. Come on, focus. There it is. Air Luxe extra fine merino. And it's color 66. So I don't know. But it's like a tealy blue. And a fingering weight. So I'm trying to decide. I might do a Lisa Much pattern. Most of hers are 2 colors, but I think there's a couple of them that would lend themselves really to really well to a solid color as well, because it's just like a texture change where she changes textures when she changes colors. So I think it would be okay. So I was kind of thinking Asunder. I just started that one before, but I didn't care for it in the yarn and whatever, but we'll see. I'm looking for a 1-color shawl. That or a Waiting for Rain by Sylvia McFadden? A soft sweater. I'm thinking maybe a Waiting for Rain. That's been on my list for a while. So, yeah. But I really like it. I thought it was really pretty, and it's really shimmery without being glittery, if that makes any sense. So, anyways, I think that's going to be really pretty. So, stash enhancements. So, there's like 300, I don't even know where that came from. 328 yards. So, altogether 330, so about 660 yards. So, I should get a fairly decent sized shawl from that. So, that was number 1. Number 2, I tried supporting, she's got a wall of Canadian dyers. So, ours is in there right next to Lichen and Lace. That's right next to Sweet Paprika. And then this one is Joma Yarns. Joma Yarn. And they are from Vancouver, BC. So they're fairly local to Kamloops, but they're a little distant from us. And this one is called Black Pearl, and it is their Sport DK, 100% superwash merino. And it's just so pretty. I'm going to pop the tag off. So it's like gray, and there's blue and purple in there, and just a tiny hint of green some places. And she had a sample cowl knit up, and it was so gorgeous. I saw the sample, and I was like, oh, like, I love that. And then when I found this, I was looking at it, I'm like, boy, that's pretty. And then I looked at the sample again. I was like, oh, that's the same yarn. So I'm really excited to knit with it because it's beautiful, and I've seen it knit up, and it doesn't pool or flash or anything. It's just very subtle color changes. So yeah, so this is, like I said, Joma Yarn from Vancouver, and her website is jomayarn.com. So give her a check out. She's got really nice stuff. All of her colors were beautiful. This one was like the one that caught my eye the most, but there were others too that I would have happily made a home for. So yeah, but this one was her sport, and she had fingering weight there too. So she carries a couple of yarn weights of, yeah, Joma. So that was that one. And then my other one I was really excited about, because this is a very hard company to get yarn from. She sells out regularly on her Etsy updates, and so to find a whole wall of it was very exciting. But I got my first skein of Lichen and Lace. And this is such a pretty colorway. And it was funny because, okay, so I mentioned a minute ago about Meg from Pip and Pin. She's a designer, not a yarn designer. She is a knitwear designer. That's what I'm trying to say. But she just recently started a podcast. So she's only had 2 episodes, but she's really fun to watch. So if you're looking for something, go watch her. But anyways, she was showing off a pair of socks that she'd knit. And it was out of the lichen and lace. And I was like, that's pretty yarn. And then she mentioned the name, and then I laughed because that's the exact color that I bought. But this one is called Pressed Flowers. Hers look different than mine. Mine seems more saturated with the speckles, but I mean, that's the nature of hand-dyed, is that you don't control where the speckles go or how they strike or how often. So, but anyways, it doesn't look as good as it did when it was hanging on the thing because I've already taken it out and untwisted it and reskeined it, but I'll do it again. So this is our 80-20% sock. So it's 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. And yeah, in the pressed flowers. And it's 100 grams. So she's got 365 yards. So it should make, I don't know, I'll pair it with something and make a 2-color shawl probably. But there we go. So we've got, there's yellow and red and purple and teal, and it's on like a soft, like a neutral base. It's not cream. It's definitely like a beige tan color. That sounds like it would be ugly, but it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm really liking like this section in here with all these different variations of the speckles. So anyways, this one caught my eye. I know I can do something amazing with this yarn. It's the same base that we use, actually. Like, I don't know if it's the same supplier, but it's the same base. It's 80-20. So I know I really enjoy how this yarn knits up. But yeah, isn't that beautiful? So lichen and lace. I was very excited because I was watching a couple other podcasts. I think it was a Cozy Up Knit. Nope, not Cozy Up Knits. Dye Another Day podcast with the Cozy Knitter. That's what it was. And she had gone to the Toronto Fiber Frolic, and lichen and lace was there and sold out within like the first 2 hours. So, I mean, it's a hard to get yarn. So I was very excited to get my first hands on it. And she is a dyer out of Sackville, New Brunswick. NB? Is that New Brunswick? I hope that's right. I should know. I am Canadian, but you know, sometimes I live in my own little bubble. But anyways, very happy with that. So those are my acquisitions from there. And then, so that was in Kamloops. So yes, like I said, definitely go check out that shop if you're a local or if you're, you know, traveling through. It's definitely worth a stop. She's got absolutely beautiful yarns. It's just stuffed full of yarn. She loves to support Canadian hand dyers, which I think is just amazing. So she has the one entire wall just dedicated to Canadian dyers. She's got some Yarn Inc. There as well, who's a dyer out of Alberta. And yeah, I can't remember. I'm sorry. I know that there were more dyers, but these are the ones I remember. But yeah. And then after Kamloops, we stayed for a few days, and then my husband and I zipped up to, well, and our daughters, we zipped up to Kelowna to visit some more family. And while we were there, everybody's kind of having a nappy day, and I was like, okay, we're in Kelowna. We're in West Kelowna, which is took us about half an hour to get to the other side. If you're familiar at all with Kelowna, there's like Kelowna, the main city, and then there's like the Okanagan Lake that goes in between, and then West Kelowna. So we were in West Kelowna, so we had to go all the way through West Kelowna, across the bridge, and then into Kelowna. But there's a yarn shop there called Art of Yarn, and I've shopped with them. I haven't actually ordered anything, but I've checked out their shop a few times online, and they've got a lot of nice stuff. So I'm like, we're fairly close. Still took us over half an hour to get there, even though we were in the same city technically. But but I went there, and beautiful. It was a tiny little hole in the wall shop, right? But it was just packed. I don't think you could fit one more skein in that place if you tried. So they had a beautiful selection. And so I was shopping around with my husband, and I was really liking everything. They had really good sale section with like Cascade and a bunch of like Baroccos and stuff that I like having as just general stash. But my husband was shopping, and he spied some yarn, And I'm like, well, you know what? He doesn't ask for yarn very often. Most of my stash is 99% mine. So he really liked this one, and I was excited because I got my first Malabrigo while I was on vacation too. So it's this really awesome, rugged, like man color that I'm just loving. I probably wouldn't have picked it if he wouldn't have pointed it out, but once he's handed it to me, I was like, oh, the colors in here. There's greens, and there's rust, and there's blue, and there's gray, and there's olive, and there's shots of yellow, and there's navy, and every color under the sun, and it's so muted and moody, and I love it. Love it so much. So there's supposed to be something for my husband. I don't know. Malabrigo, and this is Malabrigo is number 139, Passion. I think. Come on. It doesn't want to focus on the name. Oh well. There. Okay, so you got it. Passion 139. So, yeah, I don't know. When you spend that much money on a skein of yarn, do you really want to make it into socks that he's just going to wear out? Do you guys have a good suggestion for what to do with a fingering weight yarn that's not socks? I got one skein of it, so it's 440 yards-ish. So, could be socks. I was thinking maybe if I paired it with something else, I could do like a double layer hat. Because, I mean, honestly, we live in Saskatchewan. A fingering weight hat is not going to cut it. That's like summer wear. So, it hits -40, which is -40 Fahrenheit. So, you can understand. That's not going to be a hat unless I double it up with something. Like maybe I wouldn't hold it double, but maybe like do a lined hat and then have this one as the outside. But I mean, if I'm open for suggestions, if you can think of anything amazing to make with this for my husband, because I'm totally in love with it. So this was from Art of Yarn. So again, I would recommend if you're going to be in Kelowna or in West Kelowna or in any of those Okanagan cities, towns, make a trip. They were worth it. I mean, I would have happily spent like my entire vacation budget just in that shop, but I had to be responsible and I'd already bought some at Carla's. So one skein was it. And I mean, I went in at 4:30 and they closed at 5. So that prevented me from doing any major damage too, because it's like I just needed to get something and hurry my butt up because they were trying to get closed and I didn't want to take up their time anymore because it was a beautiful day. It was like 38 degrees that day. So it wasn't really that beautiful. It was really actually stinking hot, but I'm sure they were eager to get out of the shop and like into a pool or into the lake or something because it was hot. But yeah, so that was my stash acquisitions and things that I had fun buying. Now I've got more yarn to figure out what to do with. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Like I said, like that one yarn, the Katia yarn, I'm going to try to make a shawl for myself because I think it would be really drapey and beautiful. This probably, like I said, the Malabrigo, maybe for socks, unless you guys have a really awesome suggestion that will change my mind. It could be easily swayed. So go ahead and try because I'd be like, oh, and it'll end up in my cart, or not my cart, but it'll probably end up in my favorites. So. And then with the lichen and lace, I don't really know yet. I'll pair it with something from either my stash or I'll dye something or, you know, from the shop. And probably make a 2-color something. And then the Joma yarns, I'll probably just make myself like a cowl or a hat or something because I really like that weight and I love the color. So yeah, more knitting on my horizon. So much. But yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much it for general blabber chatter, and I've managed to make it almost an hour already, so I'm just going to do a really quick Midknit Cravings update, because it's kind of been sprinkled throughout, so I apologize for any of you who are like, really don't care about my yarn dyeing business, because that's completely fine, and I'm sorry that it just keeps sneaking in wherever, but I mean, it's kind of my life, and it's kind of what just pops up naturally in my podcast now, because I'm knitting with that yarn, so... Anyways, you know what? I'm not going to apologize. It's my podcast. I could talk about what I want. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so anyways, I'm going to show you some new yarn. It's back there. So I'm going to pause it and I'll be right back. Okay, got the yarn. As you can see, there's a big bare spot now. It's like gotta shift. There we go. So, like I mentioned, when I'm doing my changing light, I said I had dyed myself a gradient from my juice box set. So this is juice box. Normally, like you can see, it's just a white and it's got like a peachy orange and then purples and pink speckles. So it's one of our favorites. Actually, it's one of our most popular colorways. So we have this one continuously sells out. So that's really happy. I really love this colorway. But in my head for a long, long time, I was thinking this would be amazing as a gradient set. And so I did it. And I love it. And I ended up doing 2 sets because I dye in batches of 2 and I'm doing the speckles and stuff in the pans. So I ended up with a set and now I have one more set that I'm going to put up in the shop. And then I'll also dye some more sets because it was, when I posted it on Instagram, a few people said that they would like a set. So got to dye up these, but not complaining. It's just, it's like, oh my goodness, I got so much dyeing to do. We've got like I said, we've got a show coming up and a pop-up coming up, which is like a show, but it's just a small little, like a coffee shop is hosting a few tables as I don't know what you call it. It's the same, like we're going to be doing the curated, by curated handmade market in Saskatoon, and then curated also hosts these pop-ups. So they go to some of those little trendy coffee shops and say, hey, can some of our vendors have a booth in your shop for the day? And have customers come or, you know, get general feedback on their booths and stuff like that. So we applied for their pop-ups because they were offering that, and so we got accepted. So we've got a pop-up in September, and then we've got Knit City, and then right on the tails of that again is the actual curated market. So I've got dyeing and a couple of wholesale orders that are due before then, so I'm going to be dyeing like a storm. And then now I've got a few requests for this one, so I'm going to be one busy person. My sister too, she's like on vacation. I'm like, enjoy your last day because when you get home, holy smoke, we're going to be dying like mad. Anyways, enough rambling. I'll show you the yarn now. Shut up, Jaden. Show the yarn. Okay. So this is the gradient set, a juice box. I can't see the screen now, so I can't see if it's centered or you can see it very well. There we go. So this is juice box A. This is like the regular juice box that we have in the shop at all times. And then this is the juice box. It's a little bit heavier. So side by side, they don't look too different, but you can see the bigger splashes of color in there as compared to this one. And then the third one is almost completely, like you can see the speckles in there too, but it's a lot more filled. So 1, 2, and 3 juice box set. So I'll be selling these. We'll be putting them up in the shop probably, I don't know when, soon. I was going to say, like, our shop is going to reopen on Tuesday the 8th. Today is Sunday. So if I get this up before Tuesday, you'll just have to wait a day or whatever, just because, like, Tara doesn't arrive home until Monday. So I'll probably be doing some dyeing tomorrow, but we'll open the shop again on Tuesday after the long weekend here in Canada. I don't know if it's a long weekend for you guys in the States, but it's a long weekend here in Canada. So we'll open up when we get home. But like I said, I've got a lot of dyeing to do. Priority is going to be the wholesale orders that we've got out. So a couple of these might hit the shop this month. But for now, they're coming. So that's those. I absolutely love this set. I am so glad it turned out as good as it did. I was feeling a little bit nervous before, but when I was doing the dyeing, I was like, I don't know, this could be really good or it could be really bad. Turned out really good, so happy with that. And then one other colorway that we'll be releasing fairly soon in the shop is this one. It's a gray and yellow, obviously. It was a request from Carla of Knit 2 Yarn. She wanted a gray and yellow in her shop on her wall, and so we were happy to oblige because she also requested beaches, which was the coral and the blue. Yeah, the turquoise and the coral, and it turned out so beautiful. So when she said, can you do me a yellow and a gray? We're like, well, okay. Twist our rubber arm. So yes, this one is called Rain or Shine. And it's this beautiful like soft yellow and a soft gray. It goes really well with the grays that we have in our shop. The sidewalk and smoke and mirrors, so it looks really nice with it. We don't currently have a solid yellow. We have dandelion, but it's pretty bright. It doesn't really work with this one as well, but we will definitely be coming out with a yellow at some point. Because like we said, we always like to have at least one, if not 2 or 3 solids that go with each of our colorways. Just makes it easier for all of you if you're wanting to do a 2 or 3 color project, to have ones that you know are going to match perfectly. So that's this one. I really like this one. I was really worried when I was dyeing it because sometimes gray and yellow, if they touch, they'll turn this terrible, they can turn a really terrible color. They can be beautiful too, but they can turn this hideous green gray color, and I'm like, it's not what I'm going for. But thankfully, if she would have asked us like 2 months ago when we were really fresh at dyeing, well, we've had our 6-month anniversary now. So if she would have asked us like 3 or 4 months ago, likely this would have turned into a hot mess. But thankfully, we've had enough hot messes that we kind of know now what not to do when we're going to blend colors that, you know, would make mud. So thankfully, we didn't have any mishaps with this one. So this one turned out really nice. She was really happy with it, and so are we. So we're going to be releasing it in the shop fairly soon as well. So, and then also I just wanted to remind you that August is the very last month that you can order our ice cream colorways. If you haven't seen those, when we open up our shop, they will be the top 3 in the featured ones. So we've got mint chocolate chip, vanilla with sprinkles, and raspberry cheesecake. And each one of them comes with a mini skein that is called waffle cone. So those are really, really fun. We're loving those. And yeah, they're only going to be available for summer because that's just the way we're going to do it. And yeah, so if you want one of those, definitely grab one. We've got a few left in the shop, and then that's it. So, and then we'll have our mini sets back up again. Yeah, so basically we're just going to reopen with the full amount of stock that we had when we closed. And we will obviously be dyeing our hearts out. And yeah, and gearing up for some fun in the fall. So it's going to be crazy, but it's going to be fun too. But anyways, I've rambled on now for well over an hour. We've got to go for supper with to my parents. My brother came into town, so I haven't seen him for a few months. So we're going to zip over there, and my niece and my nephew from Alberta are here. So yeah, it's busy. So I'm going to sign off, stop blabbing, stop boring you guys to death, and thank you guys, everybody, for sticking in and watching to the end. And I hope I'll see you guys again in a couple of weeks. Talk to you later. Bye.